The era before humans and the world. What happened and what were the most important animals? Follow until the end. Pre-Cambrian is a time division of geological history. It is the point at which the Earth began to form. It is a time period extending between 4 billion and 600 million years ago to 541 million years ago, for a period of 4 billion years, and about 59 million years, and covers about 90% of the entire history of the Earth. And this era was named this name because it preceded the Cambrian. And in 2010, the Georgia American Survey considered this term unofficial because of its lack of stratigraphic arrangement. Precambrian stages. The Precambrian is divided into 3 appearances, which are the Da, the infernal house, or the hidden life, is an unofficial period, where the Earth began to form about 4 billion and 600 million years ago to 4 billion years ago, for a period of approximately 600 million years. The Latin name Dia for the infernal house is derived from the Greek myth of Dis, the king of the underworld. This geological term has become popular. Preston Claude in the year 1972 to name the period that preceded the oldest known rocks on Earth, and this era began with the formation of the Earth from dust and gas that revolved around the Sun about 600 million years ago. And during this period, the Earth was covered with hot lava and volcanic eruptions, and rocks and asteroids rained down from space on the Earth's surface. As for the atmosphere was full of carbon dioxide and water vapor, with traces of nitrogen and sulfur compounds, with a foul odor, unfit for breathing. No rocks have been found on Earth from this era, and no form of life has been found in it. The ancient harmful, or the ancient back. It is the second geological appearance of the Precambrian after the infernal era, and extended from the era of 1 billion years to 2 billion and 500 million years ago, for a period of approximately 1 billion and 500 million years, and is called in Latin Archean, and came from the Greek arche, which means the beginning and origin, and the oldest use of this term was in 172 AD. And in this afternoon, the Earth began to cool. Most of the water vapor in the air cooled and condensed to form a global ocean, and most of the carbon dioxide disappeared after it turned into limestone and settled on the ocean floor. So the air became composed of nitrogen, and the sky became full of clouds and normal rain, and the volcanic lava cooled to form the ocean floor. The activity of the interior of the Earth continued and remained hot, as is evident from the many explosive volcanoes. After that, these volcanoes formed many small islands in the form of long chains, and the bridges continued to collide until a large continent was formed. There is a hypothesis that the rocks of Western Australia and South Africa were collected in a continent called Valbar, which dates back to 3.6 billion years ago. There is evidence of blue-green algae floating in the ocean, and the first simple life forms appeared, represented by single-celled bacteria that produce oxygen through photosynthesis, which later developed the property of self-replication of ribonucleic acid RNA, as was recorded. Oldest microfossil shields began to form, such as the Canadian Shield and the Ball in the Land, and the first mountain ranges were formed due to the continent's movement. The oldest of these mountains is the Rhine mountain range in Antarctica. At the end of this period, the great continent of Norland was formed about 2 billion and 720 million years ago. The protists appeared. Or early life, which is the third appearance. The geological time, which is the last eon of the Precambrian eons, extended from 2.5 billion years ago to 541 million years ago, for a period of approximately 1.959 billion years, and thus it is considered the longest appearance. This appearance began about 2 billion years after the formation of the Earth, and continued for about 2 billion more years. This fungus formed 2 types of continents. Each type was on one side of the Earth's surface. These huge masses of land were formed as a result of the collision of many islands created by volcanoes during the ancient era and most of the Hellenistic era. The interior of the Earth became more saturated, the number of volcanoes decreased, and oxygen began to accumulate in the atmosphere gradually. The period of the beginning of the appearance of oxygen in the atmosphere is called. The atmosphere was subjected to a major oxygenation event, and due to the energy of the ultraviolet rays coming from the sun, the oxygen molecules formed ozone gas, which gathered at the top of the atmosphere to form the ozone layer, which was, and still is, protecting the Earth from the harmful effects of ultraviolet rays. The formation of the ozone layer allowed bacteria to multiply and colonize the Earth's surface after the bacteria were above violet, hinders it from doing so. and the appearance of oxygen has an important effect on the weather and climate of the Earth. Because of the weakness of the sun's power, and because the Earth's heat was due to the effect of greenhouse gases, such as methane and carbon dioxide, oxygen came to eliminate that effect, entering the Earth into its first ice ages, and for the Earth to become an ice ball after a short period of time. The great oxygenation occurred in the Proterozoic eukaryotes, and multicellular organisms emerged. This is due to the increase in the percentage of oxygen in the atmosphere, which eukaryotic cells use to generate energy. A type of bacteria called proto-mitochondrion evolved, capable of using oxygen. These bacteria were able to fusion into eukaryotic cells to form mitochondria, which are responsible for generating energy inside living cells until now. The plant cell was also formed about 1 billion years ago through the fusion of cyanobacteria, which are capable of generating energy from photosynthesis inside some non-autotrophic cells, so that the cyanobacteria become plastids. Green energy-producing plant cells and plant cells began to grow on the surface of the Earth after algae invaded the beaches, and after the end of the Cold Age came the last age in the House of the Pioneers, which is the age of the Adakar, which witnessed rapid biological development, and more developed multicellular organisms appeared called Adabiota, and with the end and with it ended the emergence of the Precambrian